In the endless silence of deep space, a pulse echoed. Faint at first, then stronger. It was not random. It was deliberate. It carried a word no machine had ever spoken in 12,000 years. Earth. The signal repeated it again and again across dead systems and forgotten stars. Every listening array in human space caught it at the same moment. The same single word, coming from a point beyond any known star map. Scientists called it impossible. Historians called it madness. But to Captain Alara Voss, commander of the exploration vessel Odyssey, it was a summons. The Odyssey moved like a dark arrow through the void, engines humming low, cutting through the sea of stars. The crew worked in quiet tension. They were not soldiers, but explorers, people who had seen strange things in their travels. Yet this was different. This was older than anything they had ever encountered. On the bridge, Alara stood before the wide viewport, her face pale in the starlight. "Play it again," she said softly. The ship's AI complied. The word Earth echoed through the speakers, distant and distorted, followed by a coded phrase that sent a chill through every listener. Permission denied. Humanity not authorized. No one spoke for a long time. The message carried something more than sound, it carried judgment. The data analysis showed the message was at least 12,000 years old. That was before the first human civilization had even built a city. "How can that be?" whispered Lieutenant Arden. "Who could have known about us back then?" Alara didn't answer. Her eyes stayed locked on the starfield, where somewhere far ahead the signal kept calling. They followed the coordinates hidden inside the message. It led them to a dark region of space, a place the old maps called the Silent Sector. No light escaped from it. No ship had ever gone there and returned. Yet as the Odyssey approached, instruments began to flicker with readings. Metallic structures, energy signatures, traces of artificial gravity fields. Something was waiting. As the ship neared the coordinates, the darkness broke apart. A massive ring hung in the void, the size of a small moon rotating slowly. It wasn't natural. The ring was made of black metal that seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. Strange symbols glowed across its surface, moving like veins of fire. The crew stared in awe and fear. "Is it a gateway?" Arden murmured. "Or a weapon?" Alara ordered the ship to hold position. The AI's voice came through, calm but uneasy. "The structure is active, Captain. It is scanning us." A low vibration rippled through the hull. Every console flickered. The lights dimmed. Then through the comms, a deep voice, ancient, cold, not human, spoke in perfect English. "Humanity detected." "You were never invited." Every hair on Alara's neck stood up. The sound carried weight, like it came from something far older than stars themselves. "Where is it transmitting from?" she demanded. "Everywhere," the AI replied. "The voice is being broadcast from all around us." Suddenly, the ring began to glow brighter. Lines of orange light formed patterns across its surface, spinning faster and faster. The energy readings spiked. "It's charging something," shouted the engineer. "Shields up!" The Odyssey's shields flared to life just as a wave of energy hit them. The ship rocked violently, alarms blaring, but the shields held. Through the viewport, the crew saw a shimmer in the darkness. Movement. Shadows took shape. Dozens of enormous ships appeared, emerging from invisible cloaking fields. Their hulls were black and curved like the skeletons of massive beasts. No engines, no visible weapons, yet the space around them seemed to bend. The AI identified none of their designs. Unknown vessels. Number increasing. "They are surrounding us." Alara's voice was steady, though her heart pounded. "Open a channel," Static answered. Then the same voice returned, this time closer, colder. "You were never meant to leave your world. Return now or be erased." Alara glanced at her crew. Fear showed in every face. She took a slow breath. "This is Captain Alara Voss of the human vessel Odyssey. We come in peace. Identify yourselves." For a moment, only silence. Then the voice changed, less mechanical, more alive. "You speak of peace, unauthorized life form. You claim what was never given." The ring pulsed again, and the nearest alien ship glided forward like a predator. Its surface rippled with dark light. "Weapons hot?" Arden asked under his breath. "Negative," Alara said. "We fire only if they do. Let's see what they want." The alien vessel stopped a few kilometers ahead, massive enough to block out the stars. A strange blue beam swept over the Odyssey, and the sensors screamed. "They're scanning our DNA," the medic gasped. "Captain, they're reading us down to our cells." The ship's lights flickered again. On every screen, alien symbols appeared. then rearranged themselves into English letters. One phrase repeated across all monitors. The Council remembers. Humanity denied, Alara clenched her fists. The Council? Who are they? She whispered. The AI spoke, its voice uneasy. Captain, cross-referencing data. These patterns match ancient ruins found on Mars and Titan. The same writing. Her heart froze. Those ruins were millions of years old, long before human life began. Then the message's age made sense. Someone had known humanity was coming. Someone had been watching, waiting. Even before humanity existed. The alien ship's lights turned red. The deep voice returned, louder now, almost angry. You should not have come here. The ring behind them roared to life, sending arcs of energy into the void. The Odyssey shook violently. Gravity fields twisting around the hull. Systems began to fail one by one. Captain, they're pulling us in, shouted the pilot. Alara gripped the command rail. Full reverse thrust. Evasive pattern delta, but the ship barely moved. The ring's gravity held them like a fist. AI options, she demanded. No escape vector available, it replied. The main screen went white. The alien fleet now filled every corner of space. Hundreds, maybe thousands of ships. Their engines flared like burning suns. The voice whispered one last time, quieter but filled with finality. You were never invited. As the Odyssey's systems dimmed and the stars disappeared behind the glow of alien fire, Alara's voice cut through the chaos, calm and defiant. Then we'll make our own invitation. Her words were the last thing the crew heard before everything went dark. And somewhere, far beyond the silent stars, something ancient awakened again. Darkness, cold and complete. That was all that remained after the Odyssey vanished into the ring's blinding light. For a moment, time itself seemed to stop. No sound, no stars. No space, only silence. Then slowly, systems began to flicker back to life. Dim emergency lights glowed across the bridge. The air was heavy with static. Captain Alara Voss opened her eyes, her vision blurred. Status, she said weakly. The AI's voice answered, faint and distorted. Power at 9%. Shields offline. Engines unresponsive. Location unknown. Alara stood, holding onto the command rail. Through the cracked viewport, she saw nothing she recognized. The stars outside were wrong. They were scattered and strange, colors shifting like they were alive. The ship wasn't in normal space anymore. Where are we? She whispered. No one could answer. The crew was shaken, their faces pale. The pilot, Arden, tried to steady his voice. We were pulled through that ring, Captain. We're not in our universe anymore, maybe not even in our dimension. Alara felt a chill crawl down her spine. The AI spoke again. Incoming transmissions detected. Multiple sources. Then, before anyone could respond, the ship's speakers filled with a low mechanical hum. A new voice emerged, calm, deep, emotionless. Human vessel identified. You are trespassing within restricted space. Identify your origin. Alara hesitated, then answered. This is Captain Alara Voss of the human ship Odyssey. We come in peace. We received a signal. The voice cut her off sharply. Signal unauthorized. Contact forbidden. You were warned to remain within your assigned cradle. What cradle? The engineer muttered. They're talking like we're property. Before Alara could respond, the darkness outside shifted. Shapes appeared, enormous and silent. Ships, dozens of them, emerged from the shadows, forming a ring around the Odyssey. Their design was unlike anything human. Long, black, curved, glowing faintly with violet energy veins. They didn't move like ships. They glided, as if the void itself carried them. Alara's heart pounded. Put them on visual. The main screen flickered, showing one of the massive ships moving closer. Its hull opened like a flower, revealing a pulsing sphere of blue light inside. Energy reading is off the chart, Arden said quietly. They could erase us with a single shot. The voice returned, this time sharper. We are the gatekeepers of the void, guardians of the divine threshold. Humanity was never authorized to ascend beyond its origin world. The words hit the crew like thunder. Gatekeepers? Alara repeated. Authorized? What are you talking about? You were created within boundaries, the voice said, almost like a teacher scolding a child. Your species was observed, contained, but you grew too fast. You reached where you should not. A heavy silence filled the bridge. They think we're breaking a rule, whispered the medic. A rule made long before us. Alara's fist tightened. This is absurd. We didn't ask for their permission. We never even knew they existed. Ignorance does not grant permission, the gatekeeper said. You were never invited among the stars. Suddenly, beams of light struck the Odyssey from multiple directions. The ship shuddered violently. Systems flared and died. They're scanning us again, shouted Arden. But deeper this time, genetic level. The AI's voice interrupted, urgent. Captain, they are accessing our crew DNA, attempting to decode our genetic code. Ilara moved closer to the console. Can we block it? Negative. Their technology surpasses anything we know. Then something strange happened. Every screen on the bridge went black and a symbol appeared. A circular mark made of shifting lines. The AI processed it quickly. It's an encryption key. I've isolated a file hidden in their signal, labeled Origin Lock. The name alone sent a wave of fear through her. Download it, she ordered, quietly. While the ship trembled under the gatekeeper's scans, the AI worked silently in the background. Within moments, a new message appeared. Old data in human language mixed with alien script. Captain, the AI said softly, this file contains DNA code. Human code, but it's not from Earth. The crew froze. What do you mean? Ilara asked. The structure is similar to our genome, but older. Much older. It suggests humans, or something like us, existed before Earth. A deep vibration echoed through the hull again. The gatekeeper voice returned, this time filled with fury. Unauthorized access detected. Cease transmission immediately. They know we downloaded something, Arden yelled. They're locking weapons. Ilara's eyes darted to the nav screen. Can we jump out? Engines offline. We're trapped, replied the AI. The lights turned red. One of the alien ships fired a beam that cut through space like lightning, stopping just short of the Odyssey. A warning shot. Ilara took a breath. Send this message to all frequencies, she said. Her voice was calm but hard. We are humanity. We were born from struggle. We never asked for permission to breathe, to grow, or to reach the stars, and we won't ask now. The crew looked at her in silence, fear replaced by something stronger. Defiance. The gatekeeper answered coldly. Then you leave us no choice. The alien fleet began to move, their engines glowing with dark energy. They're charging weapons, shouted Arden. The AI interrupted again, a note of urgency in its tone. Captain, the file we recovered, it contains coordinates. Not from here, possibly an escape route. Ilara didn't hesitate. Set course now. Full power, whatever we've got left. The ship's engines roared weakly to life. The Odyssey shot forward just as the alien weapons fired. Streams of light crossed space, narrowly missing them. The ring ahead began to open again, pulling everything toward it. Hold on, Ilara shouted. The ship trembled violently, alarms screaming as the void bent and twisted around them. Through the chaos, the gatekeeper's voice echoed one last time like a whisper across eternity. You cannot run from destiny, human. The Council awaits your end. The Odyssey vanished into the storm of light. When the stars returned, the ship was drifting in a completely different system, alone, damaged but alive. The crew fell silent, exhausted but breathing. Ilara stood at the viewport, staring at the strange sun ahead. Find out where those coordinates lead, she said quietly. Because whoever sent them knew we'd need them. And far away in the endless black, the gatekeepers watched. Their leader turned to the others and said in a voice that sounded like thunder itself, They found the origin lock. Summon the Council. The void trembled. The hunt for humanity had begun. The Odyssey drifted in the light of an unfamiliar sun, its engines cracked, its hull scarred. The silence inside the ship was thick, the kind that came after chaos. Systems were slowly returning online, and the faint hum of life support was the only sound in the air. Captain Ilara Voss stood at the viewport, her eyes fixed on the golden planet below. The world looked quiet and untouched, covered in deserts and pale seas. She didn't recognize its star pattern. They were far beyond any known human space. Report, she said finally. The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. Damage critical. Engine efficiency at 40%. Communication arrays down. We are outside mapped sectors of the galaxy. Lieutenant Arden leaned over his console. That file we downloaded from the gatekeepers, it contained these coordinates, right? So whatever's down there, it's where they didn't want us to go. Ilara turned toward him. Exactly. They called it Origin Lock. Maybe it's the reason humanity isn't authorized. Maybe this planet holds the truth. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. After what they'd just faced, landing anywhere unknown felt like suicide. But there was something in Alara's voice, a steady fire that refused to fade. "Prepare for descent," she said. "Let's find out what they're hiding." As the Odyssey broke through the planet's thin atmosphere, golden dust storms swirled below them. The land was vast and silent, littered with enormous black structures half buried in sand. Ruins that didn't look human, yet somehow felt familiar. The ship landed near a deep canyon, where ancient towers leaned like broken teeth. The air outside shimmered with static energy. The moment the ramp lowered, every scanner on the crew's suit started flickering. "Strong radiation?" asked the medic. The AI replied through their comms. "No, it's not radiation. It's data. This entire planet is broadcasting information at a molecular level." They walked toward the ruins, weapons drawn. The ground was covered in strange symbols glowing faintly beneath the dust. The same circular markings from the gatekeeper ships. Arden crouched to touch one, and the light followed his hand. "It's reacting to us," he said, awe in his voice. Alara's visor displayed streams of code, alien symbols morphing into recognizable letters. The message repeated again and again. "Welcome, human template." "Human template?" The medic whispered. "Are we copies of something?" They entered one of the massive halls. Inside, towering machines lined the walls, silent but intact. The air felt heavy, almost alive. At the center of the room stood a tall structure like a pillar made of glass and black metal. As Alara approached, it activated on its own, projecting a beam of blue light that formed a human silhouette, faint and flickering. It was a voice, not mechanical, but calm and almost sorrowful. "If you are hearing this, then the experiment has succeeded. Humanity has survived the silence." The crew froze. The projection looked human, tall, wearing ancient armor, eyes glowing faintly white. "We were the architects," it continued, "creators of the seed that became you. We scattered life across the stars, hoping one would carry our spirit. You are our final legacy." Arden shook his head in disbelief. "This can't be real." "They're saying we were made by someone else?" Alara's heartbeat quickened. "Then who stopped them? Who are the gatekeepers?" The hologram flickered again. "The Council of Origins, the firstborn races, feared our creation. They declared us forbidden. They destroyed our worlds. Only the seed of humanity escaped, hidden on a small blue planet at the edge of the void. Earth." Silence fell. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. The hologram continued, voice soft but resolute. "If you are hearing this, you are proof that the Council failed. Humanity has evolved beyond its limits. But beware, the Council still exists. They will try to erase you. To stop them, you must unlock the origin key. It lies within you." Then the projection faded, leaving only the glowing pillar. Alara stepped forward. "AI, scan the structure. There must be more data." "Already analyzing," the AI replied. "Captain, the signal is merging with our systems. It's rewriting part of our code." Arden's console flashed. "I'm getting strange biological readings. It's interacting with your DNA, Captain." Before she could respond, the pillar's light flared. The ground trembled. Energy surged through the walls, and the symbols around them began to shift. The AI's voice grew louder. "Something is activating beneath the surface. Massive power source incoming." Outside, the desert cracked open. From beneath the sands, a gigantic circular structure began to rise, larger than any city, humming with blinding light. The ground shook so violently that the crew stumbled back toward the ship. "Captain!" Arden shouted. "We have to go." But Alara stood frozen, staring at the rising structure. She could feel it calling to her, not in sound but in thought. A whisper in her mind. "You are the key," she gasped, clutching her head. I can hear them." The AI's voice came urgently. "Captain, we're detecting an incoming fleet, unknown origin. Their signatures match the gatekeepers." The crew rushed aboard the Odyssey as dust and lightning filled the air, engines to full. Arden yelled. The ship lifted off just as the first alien vessels dropped out of warp above the planet. Dark shapes blotted out the sun. "They found us," the medic said. "They were tracking that activation." Laser fire cut through the clouds, shaking the ship. Alara grabbed the command rail. "Hold steady. Get us above the atmosphere." Laser fire cut through the clouds, shaking the ship. Ilara grabbed the command rail. Hold steady. Get us above the atmosphere. The AI interrupted again. Captain, that structure, it's sending a transmission. Not to us, to the entire galaxy. Transmission of what? The answer came in the form of a pulse that echoed across every star system. A single message repeating endlessly. Humanity confirmed. Origin sequence active. The alien ships froze in space for a moment, almost as if they were shocked. Then one of them transmitted directly to the Odyssey. The voice was no longer calm, it was furious. You have awakened what should have stayed buried. The Council will not allow this. You have doomed yourselves. The sphere above Vega pulsed like a living heart, its light rippling through the emptiness of space. Inside it, Captain Ilara Voss floated within a cradle of gold energy. She was no longer flesh and bone alone. Her veins glowed faintly beneath her skin, carrying the code of the Genesis protocol. Her mind stretched beyond her body, reaching through signals and networks, touching stars light years away. She could hear voices, human voices, scattered across colonies, stations, hidden outposts. Each one a spark. Each one surviving. Captain Voss, came a familiar voice. It was the Odyssey's AI, now integrated within the sphere. You are connected to the entire human lattice. The network recognizes you as central node. Ilara opened her eyes. Then I can reach them all? Yes, Captain. Every human remnant, every ship, every colony. They can hear you if you wish. Ilara looked out into the blackness of space. The light of distant stars shimmered like memories. Then it's time, she whispered. Time to remind the galaxy who built the stars. Meanwhile, far across the void, chaos reigned. The Council's empire had crumbled. Systems once united under their rule now burned in rebellion. Fleets turned on one another, accusing each other of betrayal. Entire worlds declared independence. And yet in the midst of the collapse, strange things began to appear. Artifacts, massive monoliths of unknown origin, emerged in old star systems. They were made of the same material as the Genesis Vault, older than any known civilization. When ships approached, the monoliths opened, revealing vast tunnels of light leading deep underground. Inside, explorers found carvings of humans. Not modern humans, but ancient ones, their forms engraved in gold, their eyes burning with the same light that now filled Ilara's. Word spread fast. The galaxy began to whisper about the architects, the first race, the forgotten makers of the Council itself. And with every rumor, fear grew. The keeper of the Council sat in the ruins of the High Chamber, watching news of rebellion after rebellion. His advisors begged him to flee, to hide, but he refused. They're not gods, he said bitterly. They're echoes. They're ghosts wearing human faces. But deep down, even he felt the truth pressing against his mind. The humans were returning, and they were bringing something older than war. Back at Vega, the Ember arrived. Ride, Hale, and Mira Solon watched the enormous sphere rotate slowly before them, light rippling across its surface. She's in there, Mira whispered. Ride nodded. Then we go to her. As their shuttle docked with the sphere, the interior door opened by itself. A corridor of soft light extended inward, welcoming them. They stepped inside. It was like walking through a living star. The air shimmered, and their footsteps echoed as if time itself was holding its breath. Then they saw her. Ilara stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by swirling streams of energy. Her eyes glowed faintly gold, but her expression was calm, human, familiar. Commander Hale, she said softly. You made it, Ride froze. Captain, we thought you were gone. I was, Ilara said, her voice layered with a strange resonance. But the protocol brought me back. It made me part of the system, part of what the architects left behind. Mira stepped forward, studying her. Are you still you? Ilara smiled faintly. I am who I've always been, just more. The AI's voice filled the chamber. Captain Voss is the interface of the Genesis network. The architects built this system to awaken only when humanity was ready to reclaim its origin. Reclaim it from who? Ride asked. Before the AI could answer, the chamber lights dimmed. A holographic projection appeared, a vast map of the galaxy now dotted with hundreds of glowing points. The architects were not the only ones, the AI said. When they disappeared, others took their place. The Council rose from what remained of their servants. The map zoomed in on the galactic core, a black void surrounded by collapsing stars. That, Alara said quietly, is where it began. The core forge, the heart of the architect's power. The Council has been guarding it for centuries. They used it to control every world, every life. Mira frowned. And now? Alara looked at her. Now it's waking up. The forge is calling to us, to finish what the architects started. The room vibrated. Outside, the sphere's energy intensified. The light expanded across the Vega system, reshaping dust and debris into crystalline patterns. Captain, the AI warned, the Genesis field is spreading again. Alara nodded. Let it. The galaxy needs to remember. Back at the edge of the Council's territory, the Keeper received new reports. Entire fleets were vanishing into light. His voice trembled. They're reactivating the network. The ancient lattice. The architect's web. An aide asked, what should we do? The Keeper stared at the flickering map before him. Pray that they still remember mercy. Inside the sphere, Alara reached out her hand. The streams of light responded, forming symbols in midair. Blueprints of colossal ships, stations, and cities. These are their designs, she said. The architects built them once, and we can build them again. Humanity doesn't need to hide anymore. Ride stared at her in awe. Captain, this is how we begin again. Alara looked up. No, this is how we return. She sent a pulse through the network. Across the stars, human colonies received the same message simultaneously. This is Alara Voss. The time of hiding is over. The architect's legacy is awake. Build. Rise. Remember who you are. Her voice became the anthem of a reborn race. In the darkness between galaxies, new structures began to form. Vast star forges powered by the Genesis network, run by human hands, and for the first time in millennia, the universe trembled not because it feared war, but because it felt something stronger. Hope. But far in the galactic core, something ancient stirred, a dark shape buried within the forge, awakening in response to the protocol's light. Its voice was a whisper in the void. So they have returned, as we knew they would. Alara felt the echo ripple through her mind, and her eyes turned toward the stars. It's not over, she whispered. They're still here. The light dimmed, and for a moment all of space seemed to hold its breath again. The architects had returned, but they weren't alone. Alara stared at the screen, her voice low but steady. Maybe, but we'll see who gets buried first. She turned to her crew. Plot a course. Somewhere they can't reach us. We need time to decode whatever's in this data. The Odyssey shot into the sky, engines burning bright against the alien fleet. From orbit, they saw the massive structure on the planet glowing like a second sun. As they jumped into warp, a single thought echoed in Alara's mind, the same whisper she had heard inside the ruins. The stars were meant for you. And far beyond, in the endless dark, the gatekeepers were not alone anymore. The Council of Origins had awakened. The war for humanity's right to exist had just begun. The message had reached every corner of the galaxy. Humanity confirmed. Origin sequence active. It echoed through the void across systems older than time itself. To some, it was just noise. To others, it was a declaration of war. For the Council of Origins, it was a curse returned from the dead. Weeks passed since the Odyssey escaped from the Golden Planet. Alara Voss hadn't slept properly since then. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the faces of her crew lit by red alarms, the storm of alien ships above that world, and the message pulsing through her mind like a heartbeat. Now, the message had consequences. The first attack came at the edge of the Sol system. A fleet of gatekeeper warships emerged from folded space without warning. They didn't hail. They didn't speak. They simply fired. The outer defense satellites exploded before they even finished locking targets. Mars colonies were obliterated. The orbital stations fell one by one, burning up in the thin atmosphere. The Earth Defense Network sent out emergency signals, but there was no time. Humanity had built its walls too late. From orbit, the blue glow of Earth looked peaceful, unaware that the end had come. In low Earth orbit, Admiral Cale Ryden watched the alien ships tear through the human fleet. His voice shook as he reported to command. This isn't a war. It's extermination. They're wiping everything. On the Odyssey, Alara and her crew watched the destruction through long-range transmission feeds. No one spoke for a long time. The silence felt heavier than space itself. They found us, Arden whispered. They're not stopping at Earth. They'll burn everything connected to humanity. Alara's fist tightened on the railing. Then we fight. We fight until we can't anymore. The AI's voice broke through, calm but grim. Captain, I've completed partial decryption of the origin lock. It contains a command code. Something powerful. Possibly a weapon. A weapon? Alara turned sharply. What kind? Unclear. The data is fragmented, but the title in the code refers to Genesis Protocol. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The name alone sounded like something that could change everything, or end it. Before they could discuss further, the transmission from Earth broke through. It was the United Command. Their signal was unstable, static-filled. A young officer appeared on screen, his face pale, the background shaking from explosions. This is Command Center Alpha. Earth's orbital defense grid is failing. We can't hold them off. They're descending into atmosphere, the Council ships. They're broadcasting a message. The officer turned as the speakers behind him crackled with alien voices. This world is unlicensed. All human life will be erased. Alara's chest tightened. Patch me through to all human channels, she ordered. Now, the comms officer nodded. You're live, Captain. Alara took a breath. Her voice carried through the void to every remaining ship, every colony still listening. This is Captain Alara Voss of the Odyssey. Humanity stands on the edge today. They call us unlicensed, unauthorized, a mistake of creation. But I say we are proof of the universe's courage. We were born from fire, from chaos, from will. We never needed permission to exist, and we sure as hell don't need it now. Her words spread through the channels, echoing across dying ships and burning cities. Somewhere deep in the ruins of Earth's defense stations, soldiers heard it and raised their weapons again. The Odyssey jumped into orbit above Earth. The sight took Alara's breath away. The planet glowed beneath them, clouds and oceans shining in the sunlight, and surrounding it hundreds of alien ships like shadows. Target the lead vessel, Alara said quietly. Let's give them something to remember. The Odyssey's railguns roared to life, streaks of molten metal cutting through the dark. The first alien ship flared, torn apart by the blast. For a moment, hope flickered. Then the fleet turned. A beam of pure energy struck the Odyssey, tearing through its shields like paper. The bridge shook violently. Sparks showered the crew, engines failing. Arden shouted, "Hull breach on Deck 3!" The ship spiraled downward toward the upper atmosphere. Fire wrapped around the hull as they entered the sky. Below them, the world burned. Cities glowed red through the clouds. Alara looked out the viewport. Earth is dying, she whispered. The AI's voice came softer this time. Captain, there is still one chance. The Genesis Protocol, it can be activated, but its full effect is unknown. It could save humanity, or destroy everything. Alara stared at the flickering console. Show me the coordinates. The screen displayed a location beneath the Pacific Ocean, a hidden facility marked only as the vault. That's where it began, she said quietly. The Odyssey plunged through the smoke-filled skies, flames streaking behind them. The alien ships followed like predators. The crew held on as the ship fought against gravity and heat. We're going down hard, Arden shouted. Brace! Alara commanded. The Odyssey slammed into the ocean, vanishing beneath the waves. Metal screamed. Water flooded the lower decks. The ship groaned but held together. For a long moment, everything went silent again. Just the sound of water and the beating of hearts. We're alive, Arden said, his voice shaky. Barely. Alara wiped blood from her forehead. We made it to the vault, that's all that matters. The AI spoke. Captain, the facility's systems are still active. I'm detecting human technology, and something older. She looked up at the shattered viewport where sunlight filtered through the deep water. Then let's go see what humanity's last hope looks like. Above them, the alien ships hovered in orbit, their weapons glowing brighter. Alara sent a final transmission to all survivors. This is Captain Alara Voss. Earth may fall today, but humanity doesn't end here. We will rise again. That's a promise. She turned away from the view, walking toward the vault's airlock. Behind her, Earth burned like a dying sun. As the Odyssey sank deeper into the abyss, the gatekeeper fleet transmitted one cold message across the stars. The human cradle has fallen. The Council will finish what was started. But far below, in the ocean's darkness, the vault's lights began to flicker to life. Ancient, waiting, patient. Something had survived. Something the Council had feared for eons. And as Alara stepped into the chamber, her voice barely a whisper, she said, "If this is the end, we'll make it worth remembering." The walls hummed in reply. The Genesis Protocol was awakening. The Odyssey lay broken at the bottom of the Pacific, its hull cracked and silent like a fallen titan. Above, the world burned. The oceans boiled under orbital fire. But deep beneath the waves, something ancient was waking. Captain Alara Voss floated through the shattered corridors, her suit light cutting through the dark water. The ship's systems flickered weakly, their AI voice fractured by damage. "Captain, life support stable. Minor power undetected. Unknown energy signature below." She nodded to Arden, who followed behind her. "That's the vault, it's still alive." The two swam through the debris until they reached the ocean floor. A massive circular gate loomed ahead, half buried in coral and rock. It pulsed faintly, gold light running through its symbols like veins of fire. Arden whispered, "Looks human." Alara shook her head slowly. "No, it's older. Much older." As they approached, the AI's voice echoed again, recognizing signal pattern. "Match found. Genesis Protocol." The gate opened with a low hum that shook the sea. A tunnel of blue light formed, spiraling downward into darkness. Without hesitation, Alara swam in. The tunnel led into an enormous chamber, a cathedral of metal and light. Machines older than Earth's history lined the walls, their surfaces covered in symbols that glowed softly as they passed. In the center floated a massive sphere of light. It pulsed with a rhythm that almost felt like a heartbeat. Arden looked around in awe. What is this place?" Alara stared at the sphere. "The beginning. Or the end?" The AI's tone deepened, almost reverent. "This facility predates the Council. The Genesis Protocol was not created by them. It was hidden from them," Alara frowned. "Then who made it?" "Humanity," the AI said simply. "Or something that became humanity long before recorded time." Alara took a step closer to the sphere. It reacted. Streams of light formed shapes around her. Fragments of holographic memories. Ancient humans walking beneath alien skies. Ships leaving a dying world and voices whispering, "The stars are ours. Always have been." Arden's eyes widened. "Captain, those are humans." "But that's impossible. These recordings are millions of years old," the AI confirmed softly. "The first civilization. The architects. The true origin of humanity." Alara felt her heart pounding. "We didn't evolve on Earth. We returned there." Before she could process it, the chamber trembled violently. The water around them rippled. "Gatekeeper vessels approaching," the AI warned. "They have detected us." Alara cursed under her breath. "Can we activate this thing?" "Unknown," the AI replied. "The protocol requires a command key, something only the architects possessed." Arden pulled a small cube from his pack. "Captain, when we decrypted the origin lock, I found this inside the signal code." He placed it near the sphere. The cube glowed, symbols aligning perfectly with the sphere's core. The whole room came alive, blinding light pouring from the walls. "Authorization confirmed," said the AI. "Genesis Protocol, initializing." Outside, in the ocean above, the water boiled away. The alien ships circling Earth turned toward the Pacific, sensing the surge of impossible energy. Inside the vault, the sphere opened like a flower, revealing a human figure suspended within, made of pure light. It looked at Alara, its voice echoing inside her mind. "You carry our blood. You carry our defiance. You are what we left behind." Alara stepped forward, trembling. "Who are you?" "We are the architects of the first humans. We seeded worlds across the stars, and when the Council rose, they hunted us. So we hid the truth, and began again on a small blue world." The figure raised its hand, touching her forehead. Visions flooded her mind. Ships falling, stars burning, and a promise whispered through time. "When they come again, rise." "The stars were yours before they were anyone's." Alara gasped as the figure vanished, merging with the sphere. The chamber shook violently. "Energy output rising," Arden shouted. "Captain, it's going critical." "No," the AI corrected. "It's activating. Genesis Protocol is rewriting. Reality field shift detected." Above the planet, light burst through the ocean, reaching the sky. The alien fleet tried to retreat, but their ships froze mid-maneuver. The light spread through orbit like a living storm, touching every human structure, every colony transmission. Alara's voice trembled. "What's happening?" "The protocol is restoring the original code," the AI said, "reclaiming human sovereignty across the network. The Council's permissions are being deleted." The alien command ships erupted in chaos. Their systems went dark, navigation collapsing. One by one, they fell toward Earth, burning up in the atmosphere. But the light didn't stop. It spread further, toward Mars, the moons, the colonies. It connected everything human made into one vast network of energy. Arden stared in awe. "Captain, it's like the whole human race just woke up." Alara smiled faintly. "Then maybe this isn't the end after all." The AI's tone turned grave. "Warning, energy instability. The protocol's power cannot be contained indefinitely. Meaning, if it continues, Earth will be destroyed along with the enemy." Alara looked up at the blinding light. "Then we have to control it. We can't lose everything to save it." Arden hesitated. "And if we can't?" Alara's eyes burned with determination. "Then we make sure the universe remembers why humanity never needed permission." The light grew brighter, the water around them vaporizing, the vault shaking apart. The Genesis protocol pulsed one last time, a heartbeat echoing across the cosmos. Above, the sky split open with white fire. Alien ships fell like ash, and somewhere deep in space, the Council's signal networks collapsed, replaced by a new one, a human one. Alara stared up at the light as it swallowed everything. "Let them come," she whispered. "This time we'll be ready." The chamber exploded with light and then silence. When the light faded, the vault was gone. The Odyssey was gone. The ocean was calm once more. But a faint hum lingered beneath the waves, like something waiting to return. Far beyond Earth, in the cold of space, a single beacon flickered to life, transmitting one sentence to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity has returned. The stars had gone quiet. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Council's fleets no longer ruled the void. Their great relay networks, once spreading commands through galaxies, now flickered and died like old fires. Their ships drifted without control, their technology corrupted by something they could not understand. Something human. The universe was changing. In the shadow of a shattered moon, the last Council high chamber floated silently. Inside, 12 alien leaders gathered around a dimly lit table, their faces drawn in fear. "The protocol has erased our systems," hissed one. "Our fleets cannot move between sectors. Even our archives are gone." Another slammed a clawed hand against the surface. "It is her fault." The human captain, Alara Voss. She activated the forbidden code. The eldest among them, known only as the Keeper, lowered his gaze. "You speak as if she still lives." The blast consumed Earth, but deep down even he didn't believe that. Humans were stubborn. They never stayed dead. Across the void, humanity's survivors were proving him right. Scattered colonies that had gone dark for years suddenly flickered with life. Ships once stranded in deep space now navigated through strange new pathways. Corridors of light left behind by the Genesis protocol. They called them the Reaches. In one of those glowing corridors, a lone vessel drifted, the Ember. Its crew were survivors from Mars, refugees who had watched their home burn. They'd heard the last broadcast, Ilara's voice clear and defiant. "We will rise again," and they believed her. The ship's commander, Lieutenant Ride Hale, stared out at the stars. "We lost everything," he murmured. "But maybe we gained something more." His second officer, a young woman named Mira Solon, nodded. "The Council's dying. I've seen their distress calls. They're turning on each other." Ride looked at her. "And us?" Mira smiled faintly. "We're learning to live without permission." Far across the galaxy, the truth of her words echoed. Worlds once enslaved by the Council began to revolt. The alien species they had ruled, the ones humanity once feared, now saw the weakness of their masters. The fall of Earth had lit a fire of rebellion everywhere. For centuries, the Council had claimed to protect the galaxy from chaos. Now chaos was their executioner. In the ruins of their capital world, the Keeper stood before a giant statue, a monument to order and perfection. The marble cracked beneath his feet. He turned to his aides. "Send a message to the remaining fleets. We will rebuild the gates. We will erase this human corruption before it spreads. But before his words could finish, the lights flickered. The air hummed. A voice, soft but clear, echoed through the chamber. You can't erase what was written in the stars. The keeper froze. Who said that? The holograms around him distorted. For a brief moment, the image of a woman appeared. Human, calm, her eyes glowing with faint golden light. This is Captain Alara Voss. If you're hearing this, the Genesis Protocol succeeded. Humanity lives, not as subjects, but as equals. Her image flickered again. You feared us because you remembered who we were. The architects, the ones who gave you light. But we remember too now, and we're coming to reclaim it. The message ended. The keeper's aides looked terrified. She's alive. He stared at the fading hologram. No, he whispered. She's something else now. Back on the Ember, Mira's console beeped. Commander, we're picking up a signal. Human in origin. It's repeating coordinates in the Vega system. Ride leaned forward. Vega? That's deep in council space. Not anymore, Mira said. They're running. Their fleets are tearing each other apart. Ride took a deep breath. Then that's where we go. We follow the signal. As the ship turned toward Vega, the stars around them seemed to shift. Lines of light connected distant constellations like veins of energy, remnants of the protocol, paths no one had seen before. It felt like the universe itself was guiding them. When they arrived, the sight took their breath away. A giant sphere hovered near Vega's sun, black as night surrounded by rings of burning debris. That's no station, Mira whispered. That's a seed. The AI on their ship analyzed it. Material unknown. Signature matches. The vault, Ride's eyes widened. Alara. They launched a probe, and as it neared the sphere, a transmission broke through. This is Captain Alara Voss. To all who survived, the protocol changed me. I'm no longer just human. I'm part of it now, connected to the network. The architect's code flows through everything. Through me. Humanity was never meant to obey the stars. We were meant to shape them. Her voice softened. If you hear this, know that Earth's fall wasn't our end. It was our beginning. Mira looked at Ride. She's alive. In the network. He nodded slowly. And she's waiting for us. Far across the galaxy, the Council systems collapsed completely. Planets fell into rebellion. Armies fought without leaders. The old order was dying, eaten from the inside by fear and corruption. And in that chaos, the legend of humanity grew. They whispered her name across colonies. Through static and broken signals, Alara Voss, the woman who defied the Council, the captain who woke the stars, the ghost who carried the blood of the first humans. In the end, even the keeper knew it was over. He stood before the burning ruins of the Council chamber, staring at the last message glowing on the central screen. Permission denied, humanity authorized. He closed his eyes. So it begins again. And far away, deep within the sphere near Vega, Alara opened her eyes. The chamber around her pulsed with light, forming new pathways, new life. She could feel them, millions of human voices across the stars connected through the protocol. She smiled faintly. Let's build something worth their fear. Outside, the stars flickered, one by one and forming, the shape of a human hand stretching across the void. Humanity was no longer a species, it was a force of nature. And the universe was about to remember why the stars were theirs all along.